Today, for a topic, I'll be talking about the void. Now, let's look at the definition of void. Now, void have a few definition, but the definition we're going to be talking about is completely empty. So today, I'm going to be talking about the void, and the definition that we just said that the void is completely empty. And when I was growing up, and like when my mother passed away at the age of 13, and from 13 to around 19, I used to feel like something was like I was like empty, like really empty to the point like I used to like literally feel like empty within my spirit, right? I just used to feel empty. And then one day, someone came along, and it's like when they came along, they filled that void. But I just want to say to somebody that the void can only be filled by God. If other people fill the void, because people are people, and the void can only be filled by God. If people fill the void, people will disappoint you. And sometimes if that person fills that void, it's going to be temporary, because the only person in your life that will not fail you is God. So, as I was saying before, my mother passed away at the age of 13. From 13 to like 19 years old, I literally felt like I just felt like something was missing from me. And then when I started to talk to my ex-husband, it felt like he had filled the void, right? But like I said before, the void can only be filled by God. If people or things fill the void because of it, it becomes an idol. God will bring it down. Every high place, God has to bring it down. So when my ex-husband filled that void because I made him an idol, the Lord had to bring him down because it was an idol. Every idol has to bow to Jesus. Every idol in our lives, He will throw it down if we allow him to bring it down. So I just had this void in my life. I just had a void. And the void comes from not being, when you're growing up, you're not being loved, growing up in a dysfunctional home, growing up in a I wouldn't say an unhealthy environment, but just growing up in a, I don't even know what to say, maybe in an environment where you may not have been loved, cared for, your physical need was met, but there was like no maybe no affection from your mom, no affection from your dad. They were always busy working. You were left by yourself, and you always felt alone. So, and because of that, you had a void. And because of that, because it's like I said, I felt it. I used to literally felt like something was missing, like I had I felt like literally I felt like I had like a hole in my heart or something, but it wasn't. It was the void. And until I heard someone explain it, because I never understood. I don't have it anymore, because Jesus came in and he filled up all the empty places in my heart, in my life. So there's no void no more, because Jesus filled it up. But when I was younger, I had the void, and the void was caused because my mother passed away. And after my mother passed away, I didn't feel loved. I didn't feel like, I didn't feel loved. I didn't feel cared for. I just was drifting through life. And I felt the void. I didn't feel love. I didn't feel cared for, and that's what caused the void. I just felt like an empty shell. And then when my ex-husband came along, because, men, they look and they study you. They look and they see what's empty in your life. And then they come in and they pretend to be Prince Charming, and then they turn out to be, a frog. So the void, the narcissist, because my ex-husband is a narcissist, he came in and he filled the void. And when he filled the void, but you see, because man cannot fill the void is only to be filled by God. It is only to be filled by God and God alone, because when man fill the void, and sometimes man becomes, I'm talking about a man or a woman, they can become an idol. And when we have idols in our life, God have to bring those idols down. Every high place in our lives, God have to bring down. So the ex-husband had filled the void. And then I was whisked. I left and I came to America at 19 years old. And I literally, because I was so literally emotionally attaching all these things, because after my mom had passed away at 13, I met this man at 18, and he showed, he love bombed me, but I didn't know that at that time I was love bombed. I'm a young girl, looking for love in all the wrong places, never a feeling in myself loved, and never feeling wanted. And he came along and love bombed me. I, not knowing that I was love bombed, it just had a profound impact on my life. Well, nevertheless, I never forgot it. And I nevertheless forgot the ex-husband. But what I want to say to you, that the void can only be filled by God. The void can only be filled by Jesus. Even when it says in the Bible, is when the demons left, because the house was not occupied, the place was empty, and they came back. So when God needs to fill up the empty places in our lives, the empty rooms in our lives, because if God does not fill it, well, the enemy will come. The enemy will come in, and the enemy will fill it, and everything that is not of God, God has to bring it down. So I'm just gonna say, have anyone ever experienced it? Like I said, I did experience it. I didn't know what it was until I heard someone explain it, and it's called the void. It happens when you're growing up, and maybe you don't feel loved. Like me, my mom had passed away, and I felt like an empty shell. From my mom died to when I met my ex-husband, in that period, right, in a period was for 5 years, I felt empty. I felt like a shell. I felt like something was always missing. So when he came along, he filled that void. But unfortunately, that void can only be filled by God. That void can only be filled by God. Only God can fill the void. Anything else will disappoint us. Anything else will disappoint. So the void can only be filled by God. May God fill our empty places in our lives. May God fill the empty places in your life. Bye. I love you all.